No religious or myth about the end of the world, because this video is actually going to show you what is the end of us. And okay, if there's no more us, then one can easily deduct there's no more of the world. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the depletion of the earth itself. Yeah, I know that seems, kind of hyper alarmist. Oh, Wayne, what are you talking about? The depletion of the earth itself? Why, that's ridiculous. Yeah, maybe not. So I'm talking about Earth Overshoot Day. Do you know when Earth Overshoot Day is? Are you even aware of what Earth Overshoot Day is about? Well, many people are not. It's not one that's discussed in social media. It's not discussed in mainline news. It's not really discussed much at all. But I think when you see the rest of this video, you'll figure out why we don't talk about this, because this is truly what I just said, the end of the world. So Overshoot Day is the day by which we use up the Earth's supply of natural resources. In less than 8 months, human consumption has been more than what the Earth can provide for an entire year. In economic terms, today, we go into ecological deficit spending. This day is Earth Overshoot Day, and the date has been moving forward each year. It isn't good, folks. It's just not. This year, it's August 3rd. So they go back on the data to as early as the data that they have when they started compiling this, and it's back out in the 60s. And you can see where we're progressing each and every year. It's getting worse, folks. The Earth just can't produce as much as us humans are demanding from it. It's really that simple. So in this graph, this was done 2 years ago. And you can see that it's back then, it took 1.5 Earths. And this was broken down by country. So for China, on their consumption trajectory, you can see that they are consuming 2.2 Earths. Japan, one of the more consumptuous countries, 7 Earths to produce what their population consumes. And here's the irony. Look at the United Arab Emirates, one of the world's leading oil producers, right? Look at how much they consume. Yeah, there's irony for you. They produce the stuff, but boy, they can also use it. 12.3 Earths. That population is consuming a lot. So here's the United States. This is data 2016. The United States, nearly 5 Earths. Belgium, 4.3. Germany, 3.1. You can see all the way down. Humanity has brought the Earth down to empty on, well, virtually everything. We really abuse this planet. All of us do. Now, many of us have changed our attitudes, our thoughts, our ways, but still, when you look at the lifestyle that you and I are used to, I mean, take me, for instance. I was born in 1955. They called that the golden age of America, the prosperity era. You were born then, you were the most prosperous. The next generation was going to be better than the previous one. And from there, we began to build the subdivisions and spread out. And the more we spread out, the more infrastructure was required, the more resources that were going to be needed. And then today, where the United States population is about 335 million, we consume quite a bit. Air conditioning, electricity, you name it. So on Overshoot Day today, 2018, just kind of look at each country here. So you can really get this down to an individual country when that country basically has crossed their threshold. And when you think about it, for a population to consume the equivalency of one Earth, it's kind of piggish. Now, there have been some out there who have postulated that the Earth is going to run out of resources by 2050. That's speculative. The commodity markets would disagree. Of course, they would love it if it was true. They'd make a fortune on this. It's said that 1/3 of the Earth's resources have been destroyed by Western countries during the past 3 decades. I don't have a problem with that at all. But I think as well, to be fair and balanced on that statement, you would also have to add China in that. China, with its modernization, as still as a communist country, is outstripping every industrialized country. Now, there is a problem here. There's no doubt about this, that the seas are being depleted of fish, and the forest, the old growth forest, which is virtually almost non-existent, is becoming harder and harder. The forest today, we plant what they call quick growth. If you have a house built or do remodeling, unfortunately, that wood is very weak wood. Again, you can't really expect to harvest a tree in 5 years, but this is what we've done. And look at the nations like in the Caribbean where they've stripped all the trees. There's nothing left for the land to produce. And, well, it starts a cycle. And we all need to become more aware of what we individually and what we as a nation actually consume. The ecological footprint, you and I, no matter where you stand on the issue, you don't have to be an environmentalist to recognize that the way mankind is going about this, it's not good. Not good for any of us. And it's certainly not good for the only planet that we have. We're not getting off this one anytime soon. And really, you know, the Earth, she's telling us she's not in good health. Her pulse is very rapid and shallow because we continue to abuse her. So today, as we begin to approach Earth Overshoot Day 2018, we are now, as a species, as a population, consuming 1.7 Earths. How long do you think that's going to continue to last? Fact is, there's just too many humans. The Earth doesn't have any more vacancies. So is it better that we manage population growth responsibly? Or should we wait for nature to call our numbers? And you know, nature does that. Nature does it amongst the animal kingdom, does it amongst the plant kingdom. What do you think it does with us? We're no different, folks. And by all indications, no matter where you want to look at this, you know, it seems like everyone's kind of waiting for the oh crap moment. Is this it right in front of us? Are we on this runaway train that is destined to leave the track? With 7 billion humans on the earth and growing rapidly, we need to ask ourselves, why is this a bad thing? And we know the answer. We know we're rapidly running out of resources. No matter how many people want to deny it, denial isn't going to get you anywhere. Now, the study of the World Wildlife Fund found that by 2050, we would need another planet the size of Earth to support our growing population. You don't have to be a mathematician to see that this is not good. How are we going to feed 9 billion people when today we can't feed 7 billion people? We're depleting the Earth's ecological systems. The Earth is overpopulated. Now, many people would say, but wait a minute, Wayne, there are places here in the United States wide open. Yeah, but where are you going to get the water, the electricity, the wood, the concrete to build the roads, to put in the plumbing so you can flush your toilet, etc., etc., etc.? Who pays for that? Where do you get that from? Already a limited source. And then let's talk about running out of clean, fresh drinking water. That's becoming a problem worldwide. And there's no indication it's going to be getting better. And you know, the thing about technology, the computer I'm using to make this video, the computer you're listening to hear this video, your smartphone that you take everywhere you go, you know, that's your God. And don't you shake your head at me. It is your God. It's about time that, by God, you start recognizing who the God is. That anyway, I digress on that one. But let me just tell you about this technology God. It is a ravenous deity because it is consuming the exotic minerals, elements of our planet. Now, I've listed 3 of these exotic ones for you. You do the other 3. But just imagine, one of these can literally shut the supply chain down where technology is concerned. And I talked about water. Let's talk about food. Food, folks, is what all future wars are going to be fought over. Truth of the matter be, food and water have been one of the main progenitors of war already for our species. We've killed more of our species over water than anything else. Now, here's the tragedy. So looking into it, when I was making this video, looking at the future markets, commodities, right? Do you know that there is going to be a shortage of chocolate? Are you kidding me? Now, this is an ecological disaster. Yeah, apparently the coca beans in Central America, South America, have a blight. It's wiping them out. And they say that there is going to be a shortage on bacon. Now, in some parts of the United States, bacon is a religion. I don't know. There may be rioting in the street on that one. And let's talk about the ocean. Let's bring this back into context. That's something you and I both can really relate on. So if you go into fast food and you get a fish sandwich, even if you go into most restaurants today, unless they specify differently, most fish today is tilapia. Now, just 20 years ago, that was considered a trash fish. But because of these fisheries, that go out into the oceans with these nets that are miles long, and they go deep behind these trawlers. And when they start pulling in these nets, I mean, they're catching hundreds of tons of fish. Now, you just stop and think about this. How long do you think that's going to last? We already know it now. There are some species of fish they can't catch anymore because they're not there anymore. And when we talk about population, fish, food, water, let's just get real. This data was when we were approaching 7 billion. We've eclipsed that by another 500 million. There's no place on planet Earth where hunger is not present. Even in the richest industrialized nations. Take the United States, it's estimated every day 3 to 5 million children, and probably a number close to that with adults that go hungry. Starvation. And here's the sad thing. Most of the food that is consumed is processed food. You're starving yourself to death. But the side effects are diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney problems. This is because there's not enough food. Hunger is everywhere. And it's only going to get worse. Our consumption is out of control. Again, you don't have to be a tree hugger here. We're just talking common sense. That's all I'm doing. And when you begin to add into the factor the shifting, what they call wet patterns on the globe, not good, Scotty, not good. Here in the Southwest United States, we know this all too well. Now, where I live in the Intermountain West, water's more valuable than gold. You can't drink gold. You can't eat gold. And when you don't have enough water to bathe, to cook, or to drink, that gets serious, folks. And then when you think about something none of us think about, helium. There's only so much of it. But yet, when you look at the fact of what helium is used for in manufacturing, imagine, what do you do when you run out? You can't go to the supply store and say, hey, Jack, the earth here needs to be filled up. It don't work that way. And the extractions of material, there ain't no slowing down here, folks. More people, more stuff is going to have to be made. That's going to require more raw elements. And they're getting harder and harder to find. Now, this is a projection of energy, materials, metals, other type of exotic metals. Now, Forbes contradicted this and said, but whoa, wait a minute. There's 100 trillion billion troy ounces in the Earth's mantle. Maybe. But we ain't figured out the technology, number one, to dig that deep. Two, to be able to extract through the raw rock, which is semi-molten, No. And you know, there's absolutely no reason for us to be depleting so much of the Earth's precious thing. There's no reason for us to even be dealing with fossil fuel oils or coal. Natural gas is a good byproduct. In fact, if you didn't deplete the fossil fuels, guess what? You would have a virtual unlimited supplies of natural gas. Clean, efficient. And then we have the geothermal, wind energy. Do you know that there is a process you can actually extract energy out of rain? But we don't see these on the market. Why? Well, we know because of the greed factor. There's no reason for us to be using any type of oil or coal, period. It's just that we're all a bunch of indentured servants and they know it. And this one just brings it out even more. Look at some of the more exotic manganese. It starts to be depleted by 2032. Cadmium. What are you going to do for batteries? 2035. Uranium. Who'd have thought that? Now, oil, they have as 2046. But this is at the current rate of consumption. And if you look at the projection of the increased demand by population growth, yeah, it gets a little weird. And again, this is what we consume here in the United States. We got to get off the petroleum. We're doing better, but we have to do more. We have to get rid of coal. There's other ways. Again, if you leave the petroleum in the ground, there's going to be a natural byproduct. Hey, it's like when you eat a bean burrito, something that shall make you flagellant. Getting the point? Here is the point. The rate it's going, we're going to have to begin to ration. We've had to do it before. In the United States, people don't remember it. Most of those folks are dead. But you had your ration book. It's coming back. At some point in time, the illusion begins to lose its luster, and then you begin to see the reality. Don't believe me? All of us know when you go to the grocery store, which, by the way, is a modern phenomenon. 100 years ago, they did not have supermarkets and have grocery stores. We didn't have a way to keep our food refrigerated. All of these have led into this false illusion that everything is hunky-dory. Why? Because you see the shelves are all full. But don't be fooled. When you start seeing a gallon of milk go for $8, a loaf of bread going for $3. In my lifetime, when I was a child of 12, I remember a gallon of milk costing 25 cents. Puts it in perspective. So, this August 3rd, remember Earth Overlook Day. Think about what you consume, and let's see if maybe we can stop, how should we say, using so much and giving back a lot more.